Jake, how about yourself? What's your story? What's your background?
Yeah, so I was raised a Roman Catholic. My entire family is Roman Catholic up until today. I personally never really believed in the religion, primarily because the theology never really made much sense to me. As I grew older in my late teens and going into the university years, I naturally, the mind starts to think about the deeper questions in life. What's the purpose of life? Does God exist? What religion is true? And so I went on this search and eventually found the path of Islam, primarily because I believe that it's the only religion today that truly supports pure monotheism. I know that Christians, and maybe we'll get into this in the discussion, claim to be, but I found doctrines like the Trinity and incarnation to be completely incoherent and found problems with them. And the Islamic narrative of there being one and only true God that is worthy of worship and that he sent prophets and messengers with this consistent message throughout time was very inviting to me and fit with my natural disposition, and I became a Muslim in my early 20s about 10 years ago and been Muslim ever since.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. Daniel, how about yourself?
Yeah, my background is my parents came from Iran. They're both from Shiraz. I was born in the U.S. actually and was raised here in Houston, Texas. And I love my parents, and they raised me like an Iranian, had a strong Iranian Persian identity. As I was in high school and then college, I started to become more religious, like learning about my background from my grandparents, for example, from my dad. And I just became more religious, started practicing Islam. I became Sunni, so I'm from a Shia background. I became Sunni. And in college, I went to Harvard University. There was a lot of pressure on Muslims at that time because of like the war on terror, counterterrorism efforts. And there was this effort to liberalize Islam and to say that traditional Islam or the Quran or the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, their teachings are not consistent with modern life, with modernism and liberal secularism. And this posed a conflict for me. Like, how do I reconcile a traditional Islam with liberalism, secularism, and these modern ideologies? So I went and studied philosophy, and I became critical of these ideologies like modern liberal secularism, humanism, atheism, these isms, and that's the title of my book, basically, or a subtitle of my book, is critiquing these isms that I believe, and through my study, they're destroying humanity. Not just Islam, but just all of humanity is under threat from these isms that are destroying human society. I hope we can talk about that today. But I dedicated my career basically to promoting this message, teaching Islam, teaching how Islam solves many of the problems and difficulties that all people face in society, not just Muslims.